Many issues, many opinions, many perspectives. Let's talk about it. Today we're podcasting from Brampton, my house to be specific, and this is Real Talk, the podcast where we talk about the truth of many different stereotypes and beliefs that really matter. And I'm your host, Ashley Gill. To help us understand how this cultural norm affects the mental health of the people who face it on a daily basis, we will be talking to Mariam and Lila from A Thousand Splendid Suns and what toxic masculinity means to them and how it makes them feel. Mariam and Lila are both women from Afghanistan and both face struggles based on the concept of manliness through how they are treated by their shared husband, Rashid. They are two strong women who at the end support each other and leave Rashid for a better life. After this short break, we'll talk with Mariam and Lila. We're back here with both Mariam and Lila to talk about their experience facing toxic masculinity and what it means to them. Thank you for having us. To start, let's discuss what toxic masculinity means to both of you based on your experience with it. To me, as being a child, being told around me, and being an illegitimate child, and then being married after my nana died, I think when my husband Rashid started being dominant over me, he was just protecting me. As at the start he said, it was to protect my own dignity. I never took in the fact that while apparently protecting mine, he was looking at other women in magazines in his drawer, and he had a reason behind it. But after realizing what he was really doing, I would define toxic masculinity as a glorified dominance of a man, which is used against the woman in accordance to what the man wants and thinks is right. I would agree with what Mariam said, but I would add my own touch, as my childhood was much different in comparison. So to me, the way Rashid was treating Mariam and I was a big thing. As a child, I wasn't really forced to get married early, and Bobby always told me to focus on getting an education first. But after the bomb was thrown at my house, everything changed, and I ended up being Rashid's second wife. However, at the start, I do believe that Rashid was trying to protect my dignity. However, after he started being abusive, I realized he was trying to be dominant over me and Mariam. So based on my childhood experiences and my experience as Rashid's wife, I think I would define toxic masculinity as a man being dominant over women and showing his glorified strength as a cultural norm. How did the both of you feel facing this type of dominance due to your gender and not having the freedom to make your own decisions at the time? I was 15 when I was married off to Rashid by my father's wives, and at that time had recently dealt with losing my nana. So at the start, I had really never focused on whether he was dominating me. After me, I finally felt like I had someone to call my own. However, he never dominated my actions as much as he dominated how I felt about myself. Especially after Lila, a more educated girl, came as his second wife, where she used to try and impress her while being dominant over me and ordering me to do different things and call me around me and insult me. He used to purposely say things like, "Oh, Mariam, have you told her that you are around me?" And when he would say things like that, it would make me feel bad about myself. I was 14 when I was married off to Rashid, 18 years after Mariam's marriage to Rashid. And I believe that Rashid's dominance over me and Mariam confused me, as it brought me back to my life before, and made me think of my one teacher who used to say, "Women and men were equal in every way, and there is no reason women should cover if a man didn't." I also felt sad due to his dominance over me as I longed for the days when I would run free in the streets, gossiping about boys with GT and Asina, sitting with Tariq in a bed of clover over on the banks of the stream, someone sharing riddles and candy watching the sun go down. But after the marriage, I wasn't allowed to leave on my own, or show my blonde hair, as I had to wear a burqa over it. In A Thousand Splendid Suns, Mariam, you mentioned, it wasn't easy tolerating him talking this way to her, to bear his scorn, his ridicule, his insults, his walking past her like she was nothing but a house cat, which is said on page 53. What does this quote represent to you, and how does it represent the toxic masculinity you're facing? I feel like this quote represents the horrible way where she treated me, and it's also a reminder of what my nana said at the start, which was all women have to endure. And this quote represents me enduring what Rashid would do and treat me out. It represents the toxic masculinity I was facing, as this quotation shows how this glorified dominance over me caused me to, listen to whatever he would call and say to me without speaking back. Well, thank you to both of you for coming to our studio and speaking to us about your struggles with toxic masculinity. We'll be back with some closing remarks. After speaking to Mariam and Lila from A Thousand Splendid Suns, I believe we can conclude that toxic masculinity leads to the harm of women who face it when it becomes the norm of society, just like it did when the Taliban took over Afghanistan. Toxic masculinity relates to how the lack of power affects individuals, women in this case, as it causes them to learn the activities they once were able to do before being dominated by a male. If it wasn't always that way, it makes them feel it's unfair, as a man gets to do things they can't, and in some cases can wish they were male instead of female. On that note, we'll end today's episode of Real Talk. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you later.